to the Bridge Christian Fellowship podcast. My name is Reese. I am your co-host here with Nick, your other co-host.
What's up, man?
And we are here for episode 2 of season 2, our discipleship conversation series, Room for Mistakes. And we are here with none other than Pastor Steve Morgan. Hello, Pastor.
Hey, guys. Good to be with you.
It's good to have you here. I can tell you that since the inception of the podcast, you have been on the short list of guests that we have had to have on. And we are thankful that you would make the time.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's exciting to actually be here. This is my first ever podcast. So
Really?
Yeah, I'm glad it's called Room for Mistakes.
Trust me, we're glad too.
I'm sure I'll make some. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of surprised by that, considering, one, I just feel like people would want to know what you have to say about anything and have you on a podcast. But two, as we were discussing beforehand, you have maybe the perfect voice for podcast / radio / whatever other version of media,
Yeah.
I think.
It's absolutely true.
I was going to ask real quick before we get into what it is that we're going to talk about today. You had mentioned to me a while back that it was a lifelong dream to potentially voice act in your retirement.
Yeah. No, that's totally true. And while I have yet to do it, I have been reading some books, and I have taken a couple of just simple courses.
Really?
Right? What I'm realizing is that voice acting is it's acting. So it's not just having a pleasing voice.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
But it's learning to use that tool effectively, and so I've been kind of in a learning trajectory, and someday, guys, I'm going to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what it'll look like or.
Someday.
I mean, we have the gear. If you want to put together an audition.
Yeah. We'll send that right into CBN. They'll put you on
that's
Superbook
part of
tomorrow.
it, right? Putting the demo reel together, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
That's awesome. So we are continuing in our series about discipleship, and this season is focused on missions and discipleship with this idea that there is, I think both sides of the coin was the phrase we used before this conversation of the Great Commission in Matthew 28. Go therefore and make disciples. Discipleship is the core of the Great Commission. And then this idea that being on mission with Jesus, participating in the commission, formula continues to form us as disciples. And so our anchor verse is not the Matthew 28, and it's not because it's not a good passage, it is, but I wanted to highlight another passage that I think works beautifully with the living letters theme that our church has been in throughout the last few months, and that's Isaiah 52:7. And in the I'm going to put this in the ESV, I believe, is the one that has the word publishing in it, which is just a really fun word. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace, who brings good news of happiness, who publishes salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Yeah. We've been going through 2 Corinthians and that idea that the letter of Paul's saying the letter of his ministry to the Corinthians, but we're, the ministry of the Holy Spirit, our ministry one to another, that would be like a letter written on us, so that not only would people hear it from our mouths when it's spoken, but people would see it lived in our lives. Yeah. And so this concept of being on mission for and with Jesus, missions has been a passion of yours as far as I can tell since you have been a believer.
Yeah, pretty long time.
When you got saved in college, and if you want to talk some about that, you can, but is that the same time that Fire for Missions was birthed? Was it kind of like simultaneous, or did that come a little later? How did that work for you?
Yeah. Well, actually, it did come a little later. I did meet the Lord when I was in college. That was my first exposure to true discipleship. I was a part of a Bible study group that I ended up attending because I met a guy who was the son of a Methodist preacher the first day I was on campus, and he invited me to come, and I figured, well, I want to meet new people, and people at a Bible study are probably going to be kind to me. So So I'll give it a
good.
try. And I ended up sticking with that group of people, really my entire 4 years of undergraduate school. They really became the nucleus of my friendships and the essential part of my discipleship. Really, we walked together, did life together, gave entry to one another, into each other's lives, and learned together. And it was a wonderful thing. That's also where I met Katie, my wife. She was a part of that same
Nice
Bible study group. So there are other benefits to Bible study than than just growing your spirit. Sometimes you even find your wife.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it wasn't really. I didn't really connect with missions until I started to respond to a vocational call of ministry. I'd always loved being with teens and working with teens, and we were attending a church when we moved out here to Chesapeake to go to what was then CBN University, and I started teaching a senior high Sunday school class in the church that was right next door to the apartment complex where we lived, and it just started growing exponentially, and we were having such a good time. And the pastor came and said, "Hey, we see a call to ministry in your life. Would you direct our youth ministry?" So we said yes, and so that's where vocational ministry began for us, and that's really the connection point for missions. Because I don't know, a couple of years into pastoring these kids, I realized that their experience was really small. It was no bigger than their school and their backyard and their family context. And so we're reading stuff in the Bible that's from lands far away and in cultural contexts that were foreign to them and frankly foreign to me. And so the thought occurred to me, we should take a mission trip.
Yeah.
And so we did. I connected with a base in Mexico, a YWAM base in Mexico, and took the kids. It was 12 kids, 2 adults, and we headed off to Mexico. Had an amazing experience sharing the gospel. We were trained for the first couple of days on the YWAM base in some just basic evangelistic tools.
Yeah.
And then we were turned loose to do our thing, and it was absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
And so my heart began to stir at that moment. It was like, okay, when you stand in a place where among a people whose language you do not speak and whose culture is not your own, at least for me anyway, it opened up a new capacity for me to hear the voice of God.
Wow.
And to really receive his heart for the nations. And I think that's where it began for me. And I ended up leading a couple more missions trips after that. But really where I got wrecked was in an evening meeting at our church at the time. We called them spirit explosions. They were just,
awesome.
We need to bring back spirit.
They were just kind of raucous
so
experiences in the spirit, and worship and ministry. And somebody that night made a call to come forward to the altar if you felt that God had ever spoken to you before about cross-cultural global mission. Well, I knew that God had, and so I went forward, and the next thing I knew, I was on the floor,
Wow.
and just intermittently laughing and crying.
Wow.
Which tends, even now to this day, to be the way the Holy Spirit expresses himself when he's really moving in my heart. I'm either laughing or I'm sobbing, right? But
So good.
I don't know how long that went on. It was for quite a long time. And I came up off the floor and I just felt different. And I knew that God, if I could use this terminology, had branded me for missions at that moment.
Wow.
It was like there was an indelible imprint on my heart moving forward from that moment where I knew that I was to live a good portion of my Christian life helping to mobilize others to the cross-cultural mission field and to support others who cross-culturally live in the field and to undergird their ministries. And so that's what Katie and I endeavored to do, here at the Bridge for 28 years, to try to establish that foundation and really to remind our congregation that ultimately, discipleship is the goal of missions, right? The Great Commission is go and make disciples of all nations, not make new converts, but make disciples. So the goal of missions, or rather the goal of discipleship is missions, and then the outworking of missions is discipleship.
Oh, that's good.
So it's
wow, yeah.
So it's like there's two sides of the same coin. You really can't raise up disciples without concurrently raising in them or cultivating in them a desire for the nations.
Wow.
And an understanding that God calls his church to the nations.
Yeah.
So, we set out to try and do that to the best of our ability, and are grateful now that Pastor Brandon certainly is building on whatever foundation Katie and I were able to lay, and is amplifying it. And, it's exciting to see discipleship and missions, because they do belong together.
Yeah.
Being packaged and presented to the congregation in such an effective way.
I was gonna mention that you have, just as a confirmation, you and Katie have, I think, laid such a robust foundation for cross-cultural missions in this body that I think is different than any body I've stepped foot into, whether it was one that I was committed to belonging to or just visiting. It was different from the moment that I came here, I think it's funny, and I'm not even sure that I realized this, that first trip that you led was to a YWAM base in Mexico, which happened to be, I can't imagine maybe they were the same, but that happened to be the same way that we met Brandon was through a YWAM base in Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing, I constantly see that threaded together.
It's kind of remarkable, really. Katie and I laugh about it all the time. And the fact that the church is going to this summer is just in a matter of days.
Yes.
Right? Leaving to take 52 or 53 people to the Baja coast of Mexico, cooperating with a YWAM base there. My first thrust into missions was a base on the coast of Mexico, just outside Tijuana. So, so
crazy.
We're just down, literally just down the street from, from where the team will be. So it's odd how in the kingdom things do come around full circle, right? And I think it's a God wink, right?
Yeah.
It's like the Lord just reminding all of us, hey, you're on the right track.
Yes.
Keep going.
That's
Keep your
so
feet
good.
moving. Keep looking to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to lead you. And the thing that I've called you to do, is going to be accomplished.
Have you been to, maybe minus Antarctica, every continent in the world at this point? I mean, you've been.
I have been a lot of places. Do you know, my kids ask me all the time, Dad, how many countries have you been to? I've never actually taken the time to count. I don't even know. And I'll tell you the reason why I haven't. In fact, one of our kids, and it's a beautiful map, but it came with little push pins, where you could put pins in. We started as a family. At every family event, we would take a push pin, and I would just tell a story from a country, to our family that we had been. And I don't know, after we had done it a dozen or so times, I looked at the map and I realized that something was happening in me that I didn't like, actually. So this is, put on your dog collars. I'm going to make my confession now.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
But there was a kind of a pride that was starting to well up in me that I didn't like. Like, look how many places I've been. Look how many experiences I've had.
Yeah.
And the emphasis felt like it was too much on me and my stories.
Yeah.
And so we just took the map down.
Whoa.
And we haven't done it since. And I'm not saying that we won't come back to it.
Yeah.
But there was just a moment in me that I didn't like, and recognized that to continue forward would have perhaps cultivated a pride in me that I knew wouldn't be healthy. Now, that's not to say that other people who know exactly how many countries they've been to, and I don't mean to disparage. Right, I don't mean to disparage that at all. But for me, in that moment, I just realized, this probably isn't the healthiest thing for me.
Yeah.
So I've been a lot of places.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I characterize it. You know, over 39 years of vocational ministry, the Lord gave me the privilege of going so many different places, so many different continents, among so many different language groups and ethnos and peoples.
Yeah.
That I can honestly say that God has cultivated in my heart a love for the nations.
Yeah.
I've never really been anywhere in the world that after being there a couple of days and among the people that I don't begin to see their beauty and to see their individuality and to just see them.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the value of a short-term missions team is that, these folks that are, whether they be in tribal Africa, or in the rice fields of northern Thailand or in the mountains of Tibet, in the fields of Mongolia, wherever it is, when we show up, it reminds them that they are seen and not forgotten.
That's good.
They know that we didn't just magically appear, right?
Yeah.
That there was intentionality, there was effort. Someone told us to come.
Yes.
And that someone is God himself.
Yeah. Wow.
And to be able to stand among them and say, I'm here because God loves you and sent me from the other side of the earth to come and to deliver that message to you.
Wow.
It's a privilege and it's a powerful thing. And to see the transforming impact that has in the lives of those who are receiving that message of good news.
Yeah.
There's nothing else like it. I told you that when the Holy Spirit is moved, I either laugh or cry. So this is my moment of tears, everyone. But honestly, I can say that I've experienced no greater joy in my walk with Jesus than the joy that there is in the partnership of the gospel. There's nothing better.
Wow.
Than for the Holy Spirit to partner with us and to give us the privilege, the amazing opportunity to be able to stand and to communicate the love and message of the gospel. And I'm kind of addicted to it.
Yes. That's so good.
If there's such a thing as a healthy addiction,
yes.
I'm kind of addicted to it. Like I'm jonesing, It's been a while since I've been on the cross-cultural field and I'm wanting to get back. No immediate plans to do so, but we've had some family issues to care for with my mom and some other things in retirement that have needed our attention, early retirement. But we're convinced that the day is coming when we're going to be back involved and perhaps more involved than we've ever been. So
that's good.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that day.
I think
I love that.
It's been interesting. One of the things that I just so in youth group, we started this initiative that I picked up when I went. We went together to Madagascar before Brandon and Anna came to assume leadership of the church and visited their church. And one of the things that they did was each service at the church that they'd established, La Porte, they would pray for a nation or nations. And I think the week we went, ironically, we went the week that Palestine and Israel went to war with one another.
Yes.
And so it was powerful because, as we had kind of picked up all the news about that, and we're even taking precautions in our own travel as we traveled through Istanbul down to Madagascar. We arrived to a service literally that Sunday where half of the church was lifting up the nation of Israel and half of the church was lifting up the nation of Palestine. And in all these languages, in French, in Malagasy, in Swiss, in English, I mean, it was just all these languages at one time. And it was really beautiful. And so I bottled that up and brought that back to youth group. And we've had these different iterations of praying for the nations. But we just finished back in June praying through the top 50 most persecuted nations in the world on Open Doors Ministries. Compiles a list every year of the top 50 most persecuted nations. And we've been lifting every nation up in prayer week by week, one by one, from 50 down to 1. So now, and this is what's been fascinating to me, and the reason why I bring this up is I've got to figure out how do we keep this going. We finished the list. Do we just start the list back over?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's a lot of the world
Right.
that still has that I still would love to pray for.
Yeah.
And so we bought like these off Amazon. They're like pretty cheap. These like inflatable globes and flag flashcards, and
Yeah.
we just pull a random one out of the bucket
That's awesome.
and we go to Prayercast
Yeah.
Ministries. But it's I can't remember the
It's a
partner
fantastic resource. I'm familiar with it.
It's an incredible resource because, and this is what I wanted to point out, you can go to a nation on Prayercast and have every country in the world listed and prayer points for every country in the world, which is amazing. So we pull them up in real time. We put it up on the screen. We read through and we learn about, it's like a geography lesson, really, with the kids.
Yeah.
But beyond that, and the thing that I got struck by was it didn't just give you information about the nation, but it listed all the people groups, all of the languages, all of the people groups represented, and especially those that are unreached.
Yes.
And as someone who's really just started to go on cross-cultural missions recently, had a heart for it and wanting to support people who are there long-term and wanting to now cast vision about the nations to the next generation. And that's another thing that I think is just starting to kind of like embed into my heart, this idea that there are unreached people who have yet to have heard the good news. And that our partnering with Jesus is the only way they're going to, Romans 10, how can anybody respond if they have not heard? And how can anybody heard if no one's told them,
Right.
And so, anyways, I know that's something that's been on your guys' heart for Forever in Missions and is being carried on as well. These unreached peoples.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say there's value to any cross-cultural mission.
Yeah.
So for instance, Mexico is not an unreached people.
Right.
And yet there's great value in sending a team to Mexico.
Yeah.
There's tremendous work that gets done. 2 houses are going to be built for families who are underserved and in need of housing. And so just that alone, right, has incredible value. There's the discipleship that's forming and shaping in all of the participants.
Yeah.
Right. Because in our model of discipleship, GROW, GROW, you need those opportunities for challenge.
Yes.
Where you're pushed out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And sometimes it means doing something that you would never have imagined yourself ever doing. And for a lot of those people who've been on that trip, this is a very stretching opportunity, right? Mm. And it's formative in their discipleship. So I think any missions is good missions, regardless of whether it's to a reached or an unreached people group. However, I do think that for the local church, it's important to establish a strategy to target the unreached.
Yeah.
This is where, God gave us a commission to be accomplished.
Yeah.
He said all nations.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're to make disciples, right? Teaching them to obey, right? Baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey all that we have learned. And so, there's still 3.4 billion people in the world that do not have a living witness of the gospel in their midst.
Whoa.
And so it's overwhelming for one church to think about, but if the Church of Jesus Christ in the world could catch a vision, then I've read various statistics, but if the church as a whole, the global Church of Jesus as a whole could catch the vision for reaching the unreached, the commission could be fulfilled in as few as 15 or 20 years.
Wow.
Whoa.
So it's
Brandon said something similar to that on the last episode as well.
Yeah.
And so the reality is, Reese, what you're doing with the youth group is really where it begins.
Mm.
Right.
When you're praying for the nations, you're giving yourself an opportunity to have an encounter with God so that he can impart to any one of us his heart for the nations, his love for the peoples of the world. And once you've received that, it's inescapable.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Mm.
Once he lays hold of you in that way, at least my experience has been, you don't want to run from it, number one, but even if you did want to run from it, you really can't. It's kind of like Jonah,
Yeah.
Go to Nineveh. I don't want to go to Nineveh,
Yeah.
Ultimately, did he go to Nineveh?
Yeah.
Ultimately, he did.
Right. So
Yeah.
the bottom line is, once God gets your heart, he's got it.
Mm.
And so it starts in prayer. It starts in worship, Nick. It starts in cultivating, even in worship, a heart for the nations, choosing worship that focuses on the nations, cultivating times of encounter at the altar during worship for people to encounter the Lord for missions. The value of that is inestimable, really. And then I think behind that comes, I'll just call it education. It's what you're doing with the blow up worlds and the flashcards and using various resources like Prayercast or Operation World is another one. If you've ever been on their site, it's quite remarkable.
Have you heard of that one?
I have,
Okay.
In my research this week, I'm not going to, seriously,
okay. Awesome. Yeah, there's so much data that's available.
Yeah.
It's not just data, it's information.
Yes.
Like it's useful information
Yeah.
to help build an awareness and to add fuel for prayer. It's hard to sustain prayer for the nations without the fuel of that information.
It's good.
And so thank God that we live in a time where there are ministries and whole organizations that have given themselves to documenting these unreached peoples and gathering information about the crises that they're in and the ways that we can pray for them and partner to see the gospel come to them. So that's all part of the formative discipleship, right?
Yes.
It should be, I think, of any local church is clearly we're called to love our neighbor as ourselves.
Yeah.
And, most generally we would define our neighbor as the people that live within the context of our local church or the context of our local neighborhood. Mm. So for every disciple, we should be loving our neighbor. That's part of the great commandment. Yeah. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then love your neighbor as you love yourself. But then you have this parallel command in the Great Commission that runs alongside the Great Commandment, which has to do with the nations. So you have neighbors and nations. Yes. And the local church is called to both. Yeah, that's good. And so discipleship needs to focus on cultivating both love of neighbor as well as love for the nations. That makes sense.
Well, I was going to ask, do you think that maybe in some ways, maybe the problem is that most churches are lacking in focus and energy behind both. But is there a particular reason why maybe churches might struggle to value one in the same way they value the other? Like, have you seen in your experience, like, why a church might lean more towards the nations than they would their neighbor, or their neighbor more than the nations? And why is it just because we're human and we,
Yeah, I think, our tendency.
I know that's off the cuff.
I mean, but this is one man's opinion, right? Yeah. So you can take it as such. But I think our natural human tendency is to focus on issues that personally impact us. So the tendency, I think, is to focus on stuff that's local to our context. Right. So I think you'll find most churches are involved in some degree of local outreach, whatever form that may take, and that's really good. Yeah. Would never disparage that. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely essential, right? And I love that Pastor Brandon is giving emphasis to that. Yeah. Particularly organically through relationships. I think that's fantastic. You guys know, we had years of commitment in serving the community through the Great Exchange and clothing and so Serve the City initiatives and all kinds of things that we've done, at various times. So that local connection is important, and I think this is going to sound negative, but it's the only phrase that comes to mind at the moment. It's kind of the low-hanging fruit. Right. It's right there in front of you.
Yes,
right.
You can see it.
You can see it. Yeah. It's for lack of a better term, it's in your backyard. Yeah. And so you can see it. The nations, we're so far removed I mean, just even geographically,
Yes.
our country is so far removed from the nations of the world. We're bordered by two vast oceans on the east and west coast, and we really only have two neighbors. We have Canada to the north and Mexico to the south. That's it.
Yeah.
You live in Europe, or you live in the Middle East, or you live in Asia, and you're going to be bordered by dozens of countries, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, shoot, that's how the states feel sometimes.
Yeah,
Going state to state feels like another country.
Right.
That's good. That's true.
That's right. That's right. Nick's like, we're going to the unreached people of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So
To the north.
Yes, to the north. But so I think we've got some geographical barriers. I think we have probably some cultural barriers. The American church, in some ways, mirrors the culture that surrounds us, and so we tend to be ruggedly independent and self-sufficient and just kind of feel like everybody else needs to pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
Right.
Like we do, quote unquote.
Which tends to develop a haughtiness, of character and spirit.
Right. Yuck. Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably a lot of factors, but the nations are just so far removed unless local church leadership is incredibly devoted to and intentional about keeping the nations in front of a local congregation. I don't know, if that will ever get inculcated into the DNA, right, of the local church.
Yeah.
So this is why I think it's so important, not just for congregational members to travel cross-culturally, to go on mission cross-culturally, but I think it's important, every staff member on a church, every person that's a part of the leadership core of the church, I think, should minister cross-culturally.
Yeah.
At least one time.
Yeah.
At least one time.
Yep.
That just by itself would be transformative to the life of a congregation, because now, when Nick's leading worship, stories about Thailand start coming out.
Yeah. Right.
Right? As he's exhorting the congregation.
Yes.
The youth minister starts leading prayer for the nations.
Yeah.
Or when he's preaching, stories from Madagascar, from Hungary, start to emerge.
I mean, I'll testify to that. Personally, I've only ever been on that one trip with you and to Thailand. And I will say it absolutely was transformative. I remember coming back and just thinking all the things that we choose to fight over and choose to argue about theologically and all the things. It's and I know we keep coming back to this as in our own conversations and personal conversations, but worrying about the person in front of you is huge, is absolutely huge. It's there's a person with a soul that's going somewhere and you can choose to love them no matter if you even know how to speak their language because I just remember a lot of things that I used to have high priority for. To this day, I still don't.
Yeah.
Those things have just kind of...
That's awesome, Nick. That's awesome. And, your testimony is not an isolated one. I've heard over 4 decades, I've heard story after story of story, just like the one that you just told. Yeah. It does something to change your perspective in an indelible way. And so this is why I'm a proponent of short-term missions, and I'm glad that Pastor Brandon is too. The last 10 years or so, short-term missions has come under fire. That it's a waste of resource, that what work is really being accomplished in a week or 2 or 3 by a short-term team. Would it not be better to send those resources to the indigenous peoples or to support the local church? And in part, I can see some of what's being said, except that I will say that as a matter of strategy, and it's lovely to see that Pastor Brandon is continuing in this, we've always tied our short-term missions trips to the support of a missionary that lives in the field.
Yeah.
So the mission is twofold. One part of the mission is just to undergird and uplift the arms
yes.
of that missionary that's living cross-culturally, who's made the sacrifice to leave family, friends, et cetera, everything behind to answer the call to go. So we want them to know that they're loved and cared for and supported and and not forgotten. And then, of course, there's the mission of the work of the team. And so we work with the missionary to carefully design, whatever that mission is, to support the work that they're already doing so that the work lives on after the short-term team leaves, right? There's an opportunity for there to be ongoing discipleship. If there have been new converts that, that have come as a result of the short-term team being there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think with some proper strategy, the local church can overcome much of the criticism that has been levied against short-term missions, in the last decade or so. I hope the Bridge will never stop doing short-term missions trips. Most of the long-term missionaries that I know personally receive their call in the context of a short-term trip,
where they actually got to go to the to a nation, to the nation potentially,
and got somewhere where they could hear the voice of God in a fresh and different way. I led a trip to Jamaica. It's the largest trip that I ever led. It was 27 people. It was split between 13 adults and 14 teenagers, and it was a fantastic trip. We went to the mountains of Jamaica, and we went beyond where the cruise brochures take you.
That's where I like to go.
Yeah. But we saw them from a mountaintop, and what's kind of sad about it, though, is that these resort areas have these massive fences that are constructed around them to keep the locals out.
Wow.
To keep I thought it was the other way around.
And so you look at it and you start to go, oh, this feels terrible.
Yeah.
But we were up. We went up into the high mountains in Jamaica. You don't think of an island nation having mountains, but Jamaica does. And a harrowing bus ride, clinging to the side of the cliff, going up, and just facing dire poverty and the kinds of things that you would expect in a third world context. Out of that trip, we were there, I think, about 10 days. There were 3 couples on that trip that within 10 years were living cross-culturally.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
In the mission field. Really? One of those couples was Keith and Debbie Jaggers.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
To Ghana.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's, I can't think of a good replacement for a short-term trip. I think they're invaluable, and I'm glad that we're continuing to make a solid commitment.
Yeah. Well, it almost kind of seems like that old adage of, you can give a man a fish, feed him for a day, or you can teach a man a fish and feed him for a lifetime.
Right.
Like that. I feel like that so applies to this. It's like we could easily just send resources.
Yeah.
We have a surplus of that here.
Yes.
But it's the commitment and it's the sacrifice. It's the obedience that the Lord wants to actually see, hey, I know you got all the money, and sure, that is some people's gift, is to make a lot, to give a lot.
Yes.
Right? To bless. And then for other people, it's like, I don't have much to give except for me. I can give you my time and I can give you myself.
Yes.
And God is so faithful to do what he does.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
Even with that.
You think of the Great Commission and you just think of the action words in the commission. Go.
Yeah.
Make.
Yes.
Baptize.
Yes.
Teach.
Yeah.
How do you do that remotely? How do you
Zoom and FaceTime have gotten really good.
Yeah. Take a glass of water and pour it. So it's like there's tangible engagement that has to take place.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's not to say that there aren't partnerships, right? You always will have sent ones. I was thinking about Acts 13, when who was it? Was it Barnabas and Silas that were set apart and sent out?
Yeah.
And that's really what a missionary is a sent out one. It's a very apostolic activity, right? And there's tangible engagement. You know, you're laying, a local church is laying hands on a couple, a family, a team to go and tangibly engage a people and to participate in all those activities that the Great Commission encourages us to participate in, commands us to participate in.
Right.
And that's not to discount the fact that there are people who are giving money for those teams to go, or in support of those long-term missionaries who live in cross-culturally.
Yeah.
That doesn't discount that there are teams of people that are praying.
Yeah.
So it's a partnership, and this is where the whole local church can be involved. Literally, every person can be involved in the Great Commission. Not everyone is, I don't think this is a word, but not everyone is a goer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There are some who are senders, there are some who are givers, there are some who are prayers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it takes the tapestry, I think, of all of that to create the entire picture of a church being involved in global cross-cultural missions. But
absolutely.
Yeah, there's just no replacement for going.
Yes.
There's no substitute for it. And many times a short-term going leads to a long-term going.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is, an awesome thing.
Before, I know you have a lot in your head.
No, just a few more. Good, go.
But I felt like there was a really good example of, so, those sponsor a child programs.
Yeah.
So that's part of Rachel's testimony, my wife. She sponsored this kid. She went to Thailand one time, the first time rather.
Yeah.
And then sponsored this kid for, probably the better part of 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe close to
faithfulness. That's awesome.
And I just think about the people who sponsor the children, right? But then they never have a chance to go, or they never have the opportunity to go, or they have the opportunity and they just it's not on their to-do list, on their priority list. And I'm just going to come out and say it. If you, like you said earlier, if you can go at least once.
Yeah.
And what better way to do it if you're sponsoring a kid already? Like, this isn't an advertisement for sponsoring a child in another country, but if you're already doing that, like if you've ever been to a Christian concert and then sponsored a kid afterwards, like just take a peek, because I know you get the updates. Just go and check them out and partner with an organization, a ministry, and go and see the face.
Yeah.
That will change everything.
Yeah. It changes the life of the person who's going. It changes the life of the person who gets that visit. So now there are hands and feet and a face to that sponsorship.
It's not just a subscription.
Yeah. That's life altering, life transforming.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Absolutely.
We have just maybe a few more minutes. I wanted to ask, out of all the trips that you have been on, and first, just quick clarification, was the trip that you took those students to Mexico, was that your first ever trip?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're like, I got to go?
Yeah, so I went as a leader.
That's awesome.
Which might have been a really dumb thing to do, but...
No, it's awesome. Well, I mean, it's sort of similar for me. Like I went, so I took, a team, not cross-culturally, we took a domestic trip to West
very
Virginia.
Similar. Right. Yeah.
And, you and I both went on that trip and we led. And then I did Madagascar, where I was not a leader. Thank the Lord. I was not a leader on that trip. I would not have been ready. So much of my heart got molded, and so much of my spirit got convicted in that trip.
If you're just tuning in, that was Reese's trip that he got his butt kicked on the mission field.
It did, but it was good.
And it was
so
thing.
good.
Yeah.
But then I led, literally Hungary the following summer, which I felt unbelievably unqualified to do. But it was a blast. It was so much fun.
But you were much more qualified than had you not gone to Madagascar and to West Virginia.
You're right. Those were super preparatory for me, for sure. And we didn't take a big team. It was a team of 8 of us, and it was a really sweet team, the Lord put together. But I wanted to ask, in these last, few minutes, did you have a trip that for you, as we've talked about, obviously discipleship is a core aspect of the Great Commission.
Yeah.
So we're going to make disciples, which is why I love that you've mentioned, I was hoping you would, that we have had this strategic decision of supporting long-term missionaries. But on the flip side, have you had any trips that in your mind were particularly formative for you as a disciple, where you went and you came back and you're like, that shaped something in me that I didn't maybe even know needed to be shaped?
Yes.
Maybe you've had lots of trips, but have you had a particular one?
Yeah, totally. So I know exactly the trip.
Okay.
So it was my first trip to Ghana, West Africa. That's the place I've gone to most over my my calling to missions has been to Ghana, West Africa, in support of Keith and Debbie Jaggers, who have been nearly lifelong friends. I mean, friends for maybe 40 years now.
Yeah, so good.
Wow.
It's a badge. It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, it's
get him on
it's
here.
a pretty awesome thing. Yeah. Keith should be on
Yes.
this podcast.
Yes.
No doubt about it. And Debbie too, if she's able.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my first trip to Ghana, West Africa, and without getting into all of the hairy details, the Lord revealed something that was in my heart that I did not know was there. And it was a prejudice that I thought I had dealt with.
Wow.
That I hadn't.
Wow.
Let me qualify what I'm about to say by saying this. I grew up in a wholesome, wonderful family. One of the things that my brother and I are often fond of saying is that our parents gave us a childhood that has been worth remembering.
That's cool.
Thank you, Lord.
We really had a cohesive, good, solid family unit.
Yeah.
But we weren't free of, every family has its skeletons in the closet, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, part of the heritage of my family was pretty deeply seated in racial prejudice. And while my mom and dad really tried hard to root that out, there were still vestiges of it that creeped in.
Of course.
Through grandparents and great aunts and uncles and that sort of thing. And so I didn't fully realize how some of that was still sort of latent within me until I got to Ghana. And I watched a man fix the bus that we were on that had broken down on the side of the road with a coat hanger and a screwdriver, and some chewing gum.
Yes.
I mean, he totally MacGyvered it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And standing there on the side of the road, I started to have this surprising conversation with Jesus. I wasn't prepared for it. It came out of nowhere. The Holy Spirit said, see, these people are as resourceful or more resourceful than you are. They're not lazy. They're as capable as you are. And what the Lord was identifying was that I still had something trailing around in my heart, that I got as a little kid, that people with brown skin were lazy, less capable, less industrious. And standing on the side of the road, God called me out on my stuff, and I just broke.
Wow.
And it was a pivotal moment in my Christian walk.
Wow.
My discipleship grew by leaps and bounds, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Come on.
Whoa.
Come on.
As God. Now, would God have dealt with that in some other context? Yeah, because he loves me, and he doesn't ever really want to leave us where we've been. We're on this ever-growing trajectory. We're being transformed from glory to glory.
Yes.
To glory. And so God loves us too much to leave us where we're at. Would he have dealt with it at some point? Yeah, probably so. But for me, he chose to deal with it there.
Yeah, it's good.
And that moment forward, I knew that not just for me, but for anyone who would travel with me in a cross-cultural context, that God was going to use those trips as a formative piece of their discipleship.
Wow.
To inform them of things that were hidden in their heart that they didn't know about.
Yes.
To give them revelation that they had never received before.
Yeah.
To receive an impartation of the heart of God that they had never experienced before, that there would be something for everyone.
That's so good.
That would be formative in their discipleship. I think that the other thing that I'll just say about this, and I know our time is running short, is that I think at the heart of discipleship is this idea of reproduction. And this is what makes being a disciple and being a convert different, right? So you can be a convert, but if you only remain a convert, you will never reproduce yourself.
Wow.
The movement sort of dies with you, right?
Right.
If you're just a convert.
Yeah.
But if you'll surrender yourself to a process of discipleship, which includes going to the nations, now God is fostering in you a reproductivity.
Yes.
It's why our mission as a church is, growing disciples that can do what? Cultivate the life of Jesus and others.
Yes.
It's a reproductive model, which I think all discipleship is. And
Yes.
so this is why discipleship and missions go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Is the disciple in the pew, I think, needs to have, as a part of their discipleship experience, a cross-cultural context to truly understand the reproductivity that God desires for us to have as disciples.
Yes.
Now, certainly that can happen if we lead our neighbor to the Lord, or, but it's something quite different when, again, you're stepping into the fulfillment of the Great Commission.
Yeah.
It's like next level discipleship.
Yeah.
And I think that's an experience we have the luxury of. This is, Nick, you said it earlier, we're the land of plenty. We have so many resources at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
I would venture to say that in my years of travel, that the poorest person in the United States is not experiencing biblical poverty.
Yeah.
The poorest person in the United States has infinitely more resources than probably 60% of the rest of the world. And so we've been blessed with so much. We have so many resources. We are uniquely positioned as an American church to go to the nations, maybe more so than any other nation in the world. That's not for us to pat ourselves on the back about. It's just that God has given us so much. Are we going to be faithful to use it for the calling and the commission that he's given us? That's really the question. And so honestly, this is a bold statement, but there's really, in my mind, there's really no excuse for any person that regularly participates in services at the Bridge Christian Fellowship at some point in their Christian life, serving in some kind of cross-cultural context.
Come on.
In the mission field.
Yep.
There's plenty of money.
Yeah.
If you don't have it in your pocket, other people's do.
Yes.
They do.
That's true.
They do.
Yep.
We've made too many excuses. And have self-justified too many times, as to why we can't go. I'm too busy, or I have other concerns, other things that I'm to be about. And yet what constantly hums in the background is that Great Commission.
Yep.
And so my prayer is that the church under Pastor Brandon's leadership will be more mobilized than it has ever been.
Come on.
In its history. And there's evidence to believe that that's already happening.
Yeah.
He's taking like a quarter of the church to Mexico.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. What I love about it is multi-generational. So you have children, you have elementary age kids who are going.
Yeah.
Lord, wreck them for missions.
Come on.
Right.
Let's go.
Just wreck them.
Yeah.
And everybody, I mean that in the best kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, right? I think everybody gets that. But
Yeah.
lay hold of their hearts, right?
Yes.
Because I think it's A.B. Simpson who ended up starting the Christian Missionary Alliance denomination. His wife often told the story that she would wake up at night and become aware that her husband A.B. was not in bed with her, and she would get up and go and look for him, and many times she would find him huddled in a corner holding a globe weeping for the nations.
Whoa.
Wow.
So, Lord,
yes, Jesus,
lay hold of our hearts.
Yes, Lord.
Grow us as your disciples.
Yeah.
And lead us to the nations.
Yes.
That's my prayer.
Wow. I don't think there's a better way than that to wrap up. That, church, if you are listening to this at whatever moment you find yourself listening to this, every person from the newest convert to the wanderer coming back home to the saint who's been in the body for decades is called to go, to make, to baptize, and to teach from age, 5 to 95.
Amen.
To 105.
May it be so, Lord.
Yeah. Pastor Steve, thank you.
Well, guys, thanks.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to have spent this time with you, and thanks for what you're doing. You don't need me to say this, but I'm proud of you both.
Thank you. We fondly comment frequently that you hired us both into this place on the same day. We blame you for this.
Right. I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah. But we've been looking forward to this moment, and thanks for giving it to us.
You are so welcome. Love you both.
Yeah. Church, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. We ask that you keep hanging around, hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. And this has been the Bridge Christian Fellowship Podcast, Room for Mistakes, episode 2 of season 2. We'll see you guys soon. Peace out.